Yeah, yeah. So for me, like I did not always know I wanted to be a nomad. Um, for me, it was more so just a thing that kind of made sense as sort of the next step to do. Once I was working in corporate, once I saved up a lot of money, and it just became like the clear decision that I had to do, like, start my own business, because this is what's going to give me all the leverage. This is where the right step I need to take. Because like most people, like they probably start staying corporate and then they slowly advance their career. It's very slow. They're getting a mortgage. It's a very slow paced lifestyle. And I know that that's cool, but for me it's like, there in this modern world there's so much opportunity and there's so much leverage to grab. You can like scale so much now with like the internet and everything. So for me it was like, this
Yeah,
is clearly the next step to take. Hamza, I don't know, I know you said you don't really know him, but like self
we'll get
improvement.
it. We'll get it. Hamza, 10th episode. We're gonna get you as a guest. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Continue. Continue. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we can always dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hamza and Jack Hopkins. There's a few like YouTubers, like self improvement YouTubers, that I looked up to, and basically, yeah, they're all kind of like of the same mindset of, yeah, you need to like, yeah, start your online business. This is clearly the next step in self improvement. You've done your fitness, you leveled up your habits, you leveled up your discipline, you leveled up your social skills, all these other things that were holding you back before. And now the next thing is to like level up your money, and that starts by like building something scalable and with leverage, which is like an online business. And especially with Jack
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopkins, his story was like very much he just moved to Thailand with nothing, and then he became a millionaire. So
Sorry. Who's that?
Jack Hopkins, he's kind of like
Say the surname again.
Hopkins.
Hopkins. The name sounds familiar. I don't want to lie.
Well, there's a disease called like Hopkins, I think, as well. So
Okay.
I don't think that's yeah. This is different than
Yeah. Maybe it's the name of the disease that sounds
yeah,
familiar.
yeah. But
Yeah. But what about Jack? Yeah.
yeah, he's like very much like similar, like kind of like a self improvement YouTuber, and yeah, he moved to Thailand with like nothing and just a dream. He also was like just similar. He worked a job. He kind of was like, this isn't for me. I need more from life. He moved to Thailand. He went like broke, and then he just started making money, and then he managed to scale his business, and now became a millionaire. Moved to Dubai and everything else.
That's
So
quite amazing, bro. Like it's quite amazing that you've got like all this people that you aspire to be like, because I think what's nice about that is that uh because you aspire to be like them, you kind of follow as to what they do, through, across all their, social media, across all their platforms basically. It kind of gives you some sort of guideline in terms of what they're doing, in terms of what basically catapult their career, whether that was, a thing, a thing of them doing something and, just like with you now, right? I think you can be a good example of that, right? You currently sitting on, I'm gonna average this out. You're currently sitting on 1,000 subscribers, so on your personal channel, so if with your day ones being like your day one fans, that follow, that are always looking for that Bishma, notification for like a video and all those sort of things. And, you know, they aspire to be like you. They kind of see as to what you're doing, which is making you catapult, which is making you go from like point A to point B. So I do feel like you having, like the likes of like Jack Hopkins, who's this again? Hamza as well. It kind of gives you kind of see as to what they're doing, and you sort of just emulate it. But then also just being yourself as well, right? But then you put in one or two things that they're doing, and into your being, and you see as to how that does for you. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But going back into the like the nomad thing as well. For me, it was it was I've always known that I want to be a nomad. I've always, well, not a nomad per se, but I've always known that I wanted to do my own thing. I
Okay.
didn't know what a nomad was probably at that particular point, but I think I
Like what
hardly
aspect of that?
wonder.
Like is it the traveling, the freedom? You mean in that sense, like you always knew you wanted to have that kind of lifestyle?
Yeah, true, bro. Basically that, So I think financial freedom, obviously,
Okay.
above anything else. Like I think I've always known that for me to acquire the type of financial freedom that I want to acquire or like attain, it's never gonna be through a 9 to 5 job. I've always known that I have to be doing my own thing. I have to do something whereby whatever money that I'm making is it's my money, you know, and maybe I can build that and get employees, etc., and all those sort of things, But then financial freedom was one of those things, you know. Time freedom was one of those things as well. I value time a lot, and not from like an excuse point perspective. And I think you would know that as well. Like I'm very much active, But the reason as to why I'm active as well is because of time freedom. Like I I jog. Frequently. I hike a lot as well. I do yoga and all those sort of things. And this is due to me having been able to attain that a little bit of that time freedom, if that makes any sense.
So do you
Like
mean
I'm not waking up in the morning, and it's not to say from 8 o'clock. I don't have to be at a particular office block from 8 o'clock up until 5 o'clock. I
okay,
can just
okay.
be
Yeah,
anywhere that I
yeah.
want, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the time freedom thing, and also just obviously using however way that you want to use that time. Whether that's you spending time with family, you traveling, etc., and all those sort of things. And I think the last thing was like location independency. Like I strive, or like the whole idea of just basically, and I guess that's where the whole nomadic concept comes about as well. Whereby once you can figure out the financial freedom part or aspect, you if you like to travel, then you can travel. So that's where so basically those three things. So time freedom, location independency, um, and financial freedom as well. And I do think to like a certain extent, or to a certain level, myself and you basically being able to acquire those things to a certain level. You know what I'm saying? As much as we obviously still have a lot, like a lot of like goals to achieve and all those sort of things. But for the fact that I'm speaking with you now, and you are in a totally different country, and you're speaking about going to another country, for me that tells me that you've, you know, got into a level whereby you've acquired a certain level of thinking financial freedom. And with that comes all this other stuff: time freedom, location independency, and all those sort of things.